The ratings and viewership information is in for AEW Dynamite 300 Wednesday night on TBS. Tony Khan gives an update on potentially rebranding ROH as AEW Ring of Honor. NXT's Fatal Influence attack Masa Slamovich on Thursday's TNA Impact. And a major championship match has been confirmed for Slammiversary, featuring the champion of the Knockouts division in TNA and the NXT Women's Champion. Dark State appear last night on TNA Impact and attack Matt Cardona. Cedric Alexander and Mustafa Ali is confirmed for Slammiversary, as is the Knockouts Tag Team Championship match and Tessa Blanchard versus Indy Hartwell. Myron Reed appears last night on TNA Impact. Trey, Miguel reportedly is injured. Several matches and segments are confirmed for next week's episode of TNA Impact. The Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championship match is confirmed for Supercard of Honor. Several matches and segments have been confirmed for Smackdown tonight on USA Network. A major update on if Jim Ross will return to AEW television at All In Texas. Plus the latest details on a recent AEW lawsuit. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's begin with the ratings and viewership information for Wednesday's AEW Dynamite 300. Of course, Wednesday night's AEW Dynamite, the special 300th episode of the show, averaged 584,000 viewers on TBS. That's down close to 5% from last week and is the lowest audience total for the show since May 21st. Dynamite drew a 0.16 rating in the 18 to 49 demographic, which is an increase of 6.7% from last week. Despite the week-over-week improvement, this ties the second lowest rating the show has done in that category since the May 21st episode. The show finished 8th for the night on the primetime cable charts in the 18 to 49 demo. In terms of the quarter-hour ratings, these come courtesy of WrestleNomics. Shout out to them, be sure to subscribe to their Patreon service. The biggest sports competition was a USA vs Guatemala Gold Cup soccer game on FS1 that averaged 1.24 million viewers and topped the cable charts with a 0.40 rating in the demo. A Major League Baseball game on ESPN averaged 1.1 million viewers and drew a 0.28 rating. As compared to the same week in 2024, Dynamite's overall viewership was down 15.1%, while its 18 to 49 rating was down 30.4%. Of course, the 2025 numbers do not include viewership streaming on the Max simulcast. Now, speaking of AEW, could we see another company owned by Tony Khan actually be rebranded under the AEW umbrella? Tony Khan has given an update on potentially rebranding Ring of Honor as AEW Ring of Honor. Following Ring of Honor Death Before Dishonor 2024, Tony Khan, owner of both AEW and Ring of Honor, suggested that the ROH brand could have more value if it were called AEW Ring of Honor. Nearly a year later, Khan got the chance to update on that potential name change for ROH and share his thoughts on growth opportunities for the brand overall. During an interview with WFAA, Tony Khan was asked about the comment he made regarding the potential name change of Ring of Honor. He says he still thinks there's a great chance to continue developing ROH, but cited unique structures of the individual promotions. He still believes there's merit to making a change like that, but also says there is a method to how he continues to position ROH. Quote, I still think there's a great chance to develop ROH. We really have done a lot of work to develop ROH. They are unique companies structurally. I think that does make a lot of sense, and I still think there's merit to that, but there are also a lot of reasons why I've positioned ROH the way I have. Ring of Honor, I still think we have a chance to strike at great opportunities. AEW has made huge media rights deals that have changed the landscape for all wrestling companies, including ROH, and any deal we do. It's got to make really good sense for everyone involved, including us at ROH and also AEW, he continued. So that is something I've considered. Right now, I think we've done a great job positioning the company as leaders with leading champions like Athena and Bandito. Of course, Ring of Honor will present Supercard of Honor on Friday, July 11th. Let's go over to TNA, specifically TNA Impact last night. Fatal Influence made their presence felt on the July 3rd TNA Impact. WWE NXT Women's Champion Jacy Jayne, Jasmine Nix, and Fallon Henley, Fatal Influence, attacked TNA Wrestling Knockouts World Champion Masa Slamovich shortly after she defended her title against Killer Kelly in a chain match. Xia Brookside and Li Ying stopped them. Of course, it was later announced a major match at Slammiversary will be taking place for both the TNA Knockouts World Championship and the NXT Women's Championship. It will be title versus title. Fatal Influence showed up, as I mentioned last night, on TNA Impact and ambushed TNA Knockouts World Champion Master Slamovich before being run off by the aforementioned Xia Brookside and Li Ying. The NXT Women's Champion JC Jane held up Slamovich's championship. It would later be made official that a double title match is set for Slammiversary on July 20th. Jane is scheduled to defend her NXT Women's Championship against Jordynne Grace at WWE Evolution. Whoever comes out of that match as champion will go on to meet Slamovich at Slammiversary in a title versus title match. Dark State also made their presence felt last night on TNA Impact. Matt Cardona was attacked by the NXT Renegade group Dark State on the July 3rd episode of TNA Impact. After defeating Eddie Edwards thanks to some inadvertent help from Brian Myers, Matt Cardona's celebration was short-lived. Suddenly, the NXT faction Dark State, the destructive group consisting of Cutler James, Dion Lennox, Saquon Sugars and Osiris Griffin appeared. They attacked the former WWE Intercontinental Champion in their TNA debut segment, making an impact at the expense of the Indie God. Matt Cardona's name has been mentioned frequently in WWE recently, including during John Cena's pipe bomb opposite CM Punk on a recent episode of SmackDown. Now, more matches have been confirmed for Slammiversary later on this month. The former heart and soul of WWE 205 Live will clash once again. This time, it will take place in a TNA wrestling ring at TNA Slammiversary 2025. Cedric Alexander debuted in TNA Wrestling on June 20th. He was the person Tasha Steelz had been contacting to try and reason with Mustafa Ali. The two men are best friends and built a strong bond during their time in WWE 205 Live, even competing for the WWE Cruiserweight Championship at WWE WrestleMania 34. During a confrontation on July 3rd, Cedric brought up their time in the WWE Cruiserweight division. Ali, however, didn't want to reminisce, nor did he want any help from Alexander. Instead, he demanded a WrestleMania rematch and an opportunity to defeat the one man he had never defeated finally. Now they will clash on July 20th at the UBS Arena on Long Island in New York. Another match has been added to Slammiversary, this time for the TNA Knockouts World Tag Team Championships. Kicking off the in-ring action of the July 3rd TNA Impact was a tag team match that saw The Inspiration take on Tessa Blanchard and Victoria Crawford. It was Lee and McKay securing the victory, and a Knockouts World Tag Team title match was soon made official for Slammiversary on July 20th. It'll be Lee and McKay challenging the Elegance brand for the championships at the upcoming pay-per-view. Speaking of Tessa Blanchard, she'll also be in action at TNA Slammiversary. After a few weeks of tension and a brawl on the July 3rd episode of TNA Impact, it was confirmed that Tessa Blanchard would take on Indy Hartwell at TNA Slammiversary. In recent weeks, Hartwell has tried to be kind to Blanchard, as they have not always had, a smooth pass. Still, once Blanchard started swinging at Hartwell on July 3rd, the former NXT Women's Champion made the challenge for the match at TNA Slammiversary, and now it is official. Myron Reed is back in TNA Wrestling. It was advertised that Trey Miguel would be taking on TNA World Tag Team Champion Nick Nemeth on last night's episode of TNA Impact, but Miguel was sidelined. Due to Miguel being sidelined, his partner, Zachary Wentz, filled in for him. Miguel was not present on the show, but accompanying Wentz to the ring was fellow member of the Rascals, Myron Reed. Nick ended up besting Wentz as Wentz was distracted by Ryan Nemeth. Myron Reed was last in TNA in April of last year. He wrestled 3 matches for the promotion in a month. Speaking of Trey Miguel, more details on the injury that ruled him out of TNA Wrestling's Impact broadcast last night. There is no timetable on his return to the ring, seemingly, as the July 3rd edition of TNA Impact was ongoing. The promotion rolled out their newest injury report. It was announced that Trey Miguel is sidelined with a hernia injury, and there is no timetable for his return to the ring. As I mentioned, Miguel was advertised to face TNA World Tag Team Champion Nick Nemeth on the show, but due to the injury, his tag team partner Zachary Wentz is filling in. Now, Miguel and Wentz are scheduled to be in the TNA World Tag Team Championship ladder match at Slammiversary on July 20th. Of course, if we get any more details on his status for the upcoming pay-per-view, we'll let you know in a future video. Now, next week's TNA Impact is already set with several matches and segments confirmed for the show. On the July 3rd edition of TNA Impact, several matches were made for the next episode of TNA Wrestling's weekly broadcast. Steve Macklin will defend his TNA International Championship against both Jake Something and Mance Warner. This follows Something and Warner competing in a one-on-one match last night, and while Steve was on commentary, a brawl broke out between all three men. Also, Masa Slamvich will team with Li Ying Lee to face NXT's Fatal Influence duo of JC Jane and Fallon Henley. Furthermore, the Elegance brands Ash by Elegance and Heather by Elegance will do battle with two new TNA knockouts, Harley Hudson and Myla Grace. The list of announcements has a preview of the upcoming ladder match for the TNA World Tag Team Championships as Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy team with Zachary Wentz and Myron Reed to take on AJ Francis, Casey Navarro, Ryan Nemeth and Nick Nemeth. Now, another match has been confirmed for Ring of Honor's Supercard of Honor pay-per-view. The numbers game pays dividends for the infantry. On the July 3rd episode of Ring of Honor Television, Carly Bravo and Sean Dean defeated Top Flight's Darius Martin and Dante Martin to earn the right to challenge Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships at Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor. The infantry is a part of Shane Taylor Promotions. As such, they had Lee Moriarty, Shane Taylor, and Trish Adora ringside for them. The Martin brothers had Layla Gray by their side. Gray tried to neutralize the interference of Adora, but in the end, it was Moriarty's Ring of Honor Pure Championship belt off the skull of Dante that scored the victory for Bravo and Dean. Smackdown is tonight on USA Network and several matches and segments have been confirmed for the show. WWE announced that the King of the Ring, Cody Rhodes, will be on tonight's July 4th episode of WWE Smackdown. Plus, Queen of the Ring, Jade Cargill, will also be a part of the broadcast. Furthermore, WWE Women's Champion Tiffany Stratton will choose her opponent for WWE Evolution. Finally, WWE is teasing the next chapter in the Bloodline saga after Tala Tonga made his debut at WWE Night of Champions, helping Solo Sikoa defeat Jacob Fatu to win the WWE United States Championship. Good old JR Jim Ross. We've got a positive health update on the WWE Hall of Famer. In what is set to be AEW's biggest event ever in the United States, All In comes to Arlington, Texas' Globe Life Field in just over a week's time. With the match card seemingly nearing completion, one lingering question has been in regards to the status of Jim Ross, who has long voiced his hope to be back at the commentary booth for the event, with the WWE Hall of Famer announcing last week that he was now officially cancer-free following his recent battle with colon cancer. He has now confirmed that he will be back on AEW programming for AEW All In Texas. After addressing his cancellation of his scheduled appearance at the Fanboy Expo in Knoxville during the latest episode of Grilling JR, Ross was asked whether he'd be at All In Texas by co-host Conrad Thompson, to which JR answered, quote, "Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I just got the dates, screwed up. That's my fault, but nonetheless, yes, I'll be there. I want to come in, and I want to fly in on Thursday and do our business on Friday, and then I'll be at the pay-per-view on Saturday." As well as All In, JR also confirmed that he will be appearing at the StarCast Wrestling Convention in Arlington on Friday, July 11th. And finally, a bit of an update here when it comes to an AEW lawsuit that made the headlines recently. On July 3rd, AEW filed to move the lawsuit filed by crew member Christopher Dispenza to federal court. AEW cites diversity of citizenship and a claimed lien over $215,000. In his lawsuit, Dispenza alleges negligence, civil assault, and battery over a 2023 incident involving Jon Moxley, where Moxley shoved him to the ground. Dispenza's legal team claimed that Dispenza suffered, quote, severe neck and shoulder injuries, end quote, as a result of the incident and required cervical fusion surgery. Dispenza was not a full-time employee of AEW and has not worked for the company since late 2024. Dispenza is seeking damages in excess of $25,000 for, quote, injuries suffered due to actions of the wrestler and the company he worked for. Of course, if we get any more updates on that, we'll let you know in a future video. But there you go, guys, the latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, as you can see right there. We are less than 100 subscribers to go until 23,000 on that road to 25k in 2025. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. Join the ever-expanding WNU, that being the Wrestling News universe. In addition, you can become a member of the WN365 roster. Links in the video description below. You can click the join button, or you can scan the QR code when it appears on the sidebar. You get your badges, your emojis, and your exclusive members-only content. And whilst you're checking out the sidebar, you can also see all upcoming live streams we've got on the channel. That includes a very busy weekend next weekend. AEW All In Texas, Saturday night's main event, and WWE Evolution will have live coverage for watch-alongs and post-shows for every single show. Appreciate everyone for tuning in as always, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.